Well, happy Saturday to you. We got a lot to talk about today. And boy, I would imagine we got to start down south. We got to start with that big time Michigan State dub down in Miami and the heat. I think said it was 87 at kickoff. No way. No way. I mean, it must have felt like it was 100 degrees. And nonetheless, the Spartans go down and get a big win. Now, we're going to talk about it, but I think that there are a couple of guys that really need highlighting. And I think these are the guys that will make this thing go in East Lansing. So we'll talk about it. And look, this isn't a revelation. But these are these are the best four players on the team. And the most important pieces on this Spartan team. So we'll talk about that coming up. But it was a big-time win for Michigan State today. You got to give it up to the Spartans. Mel Tucker had them ready to go. Had some interesting things to say in the postgame, as you heard right here on WJR, hosted by my good friend Steve Courtney. And I think it goes to the overall point that Mel Tucker has made there, the statement that he continues to make in East Lansing. And it's, look, we're going to have our guys ready to go. They will be ready to go. We'll play 4 quarters of football, and they will not back down. And look, again, is Miami Alabama? No, they're not, as we saw in that first game of the year. But they're a respectable ACC team on the road in the heat. That's a big-time win for Michigan State. So we'll talk about that. Obviously, we'll talk about Michigan, too. Michigan with an absolute rout in Ann Arbor today over Northern Illinois. Rocky Lombardi makes his triumphant return to Ann Arbor and Michigan Stadium. So we'll talk about that, too. But I think the real story here today is Michigan State and the job that Mel Tucker is doing in East Lansing. It really is incredible. So we'll talk about it. But some other interesting storylines going around college football today, too. Nebraska, Scott Frost is coaching for his life down there. And they gave Oklahoma all they could handle today. I mean, really an impressive game. And then ongoing now, we'll talk about it a little bit. Florida just took they just scored their first touchdown of the second half. They've blown that one open a little bit. They lead Florida by 12. But Florida giving them everything they got in the swamp. So we'll talk. We'll do a little SEC stuff too. In the meantime, how about Ohio State and Tulsa? Ohio State, they lead 20-6, 10 minutes to go in the third. We'll get you some other scores coming up too. And hey, how about this game? This game that's been delayed because of weather. Clemson up 7-0 over Georgia Tech. That game in the second. But it has been delayed because of weather. So we'll talk about lots to do. We'll get you ready for some night action as well, college football wise. So we'll talk about
it to protect themselves during these difficult times. And Old Faithful is real gold and silver from the Oxford Gold Group, the kind you can actually hold in your hands and have in your IRA. No better time than the present to protect your future and the future of your family. Call the Oxford Gold Group right now, 833-928-GOLD. They will send you their free guide on investing in gold and silver and answer all of your questions. Protect your money before things get even worse out there. Call the Oxford Gold Group today at 833-928-GOLD. Oxford is here to help you protect your savings and retirement. That's 833-928-GOLD.
There's a difference between an answer and a Michigan answer. Join Paul W. Smith every Thursday morning as he speaks with experts from Michigan medicine who are making small steps and giant leaps to advance healthcare each and every day.
WJR traffic and weather first.
Eastbound 94, an accident blocks the right lane between Trumbull and 75, which is causing some stop-and-go traffic. Northbound 75, heavy traffic between Holbrook and McNichols. Construction zone there has 2 left lanes closed, causing a lane shift. The earlier crash that was blocking the right lane has cleared, however. Southbound 75 drivers are seeing the brake lights between 14 Mile and 12 Mile Road. The left lane is shut down due to construction work in the area. I'm Will Hetzel, WJR Traffic and Weather First.
Mostly sunshine for us here as we move through the latter part of the day. Upper 70s is where we're headed, and that is a little warm. Tonight, clear. Overnight low 55, and then tomorrow sunshine up to around 80. Chance for afternoon showers Monday. For the Weather Channel, I'm Jeff Eno on News Talk 760 WJR.
From the Golden Tower of the Fisher Building, you're hearing the great voice of the Great Lakes. News Talk 760 WJR. It's time for Sports Wrap on 760 WJR.
All right, this is the wrap on 760 WJR.
To a car phone we go. Dave, thanks for hanging on. You're on 760.
Gentlemen, and Steve and Dan, you got the chemistry. It's cooking.
Presented by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sports app today. FanDuel, more ways to win.
Are you calling us from your office?
I'm doing SportsCenter tonight with
Are you really?
Dan Patrick.
Well, I'm very impressed. By the way, give Dan our best. He's a good man. And
I will. Hey, Dan, Chuck Swirsky says hi. This is the best sports wrap has ever been, in my opinion.
Now, here's your host, Chris Renwick.
Oh, my goodness. Down in sultry, spicy Miami, the Spartans just head on down south and pick up a big dub on the way. My goodness. That was quite a performance this afternoon by Mel Tucker and the green and white. And look, yes, we're going to talk about Michigan. We'll talk about the route and Rocky Lombardi's triumphant return to Ann Arbor. We'll get to that. But you heard it here on WJR. You heard my good pal, Steve Courtney. This Spartan team. Now, look, I don't want to get too hyperbolic here, all right? But they kind of seem legit, don't they? They kind of seem legit. And after a couple of weeks of me telling you, pump the brakes on somebody like Kenny Walker, just pump the brakes a little bit. Northwestern stinks. Youngstown State stinks. Now, I think it's all right for the green and white faithful to be a little excited about Kenny Walker. Not only is he a workhorse, I mean, he is a horse. 27 carries today, 172 yards on the ground. He also caught 3 balls for 17 yards and a score. I mean, wow. Kenny Walker is a baller. Kenny Walker is now, I think, if you're a Spartan, it's all right. You can be excited. And look, I want your input on this. Did you watch the game? You listen to it here on WJR. What'd you think? 800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJR. That's the number for you to call or text. But I believe that there's a handful of guys on this team that are just, they're legit. And I think, again, save hyperbolic, talk here. Peyton Thorne has been incredibly efficient. 18 for 31 for today, 261, 4 touchdowns. Nice solid day against a solid ACC team. Again, this isn't Nick Saban, Alabama, Miami, all right? This is, but they're okay. They're a good ACC team. Peyton Thorne, efficient. Taking what the defense gives him. If that calls for a rush, he runs. Had a big pickup late in that game that really sprung that thing open. Because look, I mean, you look at what this game was at the half. Michigan State was up by 3. It was 10-7. Heck, even going into the fourth quarter, it was 17-14. So this was a close game, really, up until the last 10 minutes, 8 minutes of that game. And what I really like to hear was Mel Tucker at the end of the game talking post game, saying, look, we were ready for a 15-round fight. We were ready for this thing to go 15 rounds. And they played it that way. And it wasn't until the end when the Hurricanes kicked the field goal, brought it within 7, and then Michigan State tore it open. But I think that this team, as constructed now, look, we talked about it preseason. Talked about where we thought that these teams would be, specifically Michigan State. I thought I had them at a 6-6 team. I mean, they were 6-6. I think now, after seeing them a little bit, they're better than a 6-6 football team. Like, this thing is set up for them to start the year. I'm pretty comfortably saying that they could start the year 6-0. I mean, Nebraska, look, today, Nebraska gave Oklahoma everything they had and some. And we'll talk about that game coming up too later on. Because I don't know if you saw one of the stories on Lincoln Riley. He would have done something that I don't know any coach in the history of football has ever done. He seriously contemplated it in this game. I'll tell you what that was later on. But I think this thing is set up for Michigan State in a way where they can start this thing 6-0. You got Nebraska next week at home in a night game. You got Western Kentucky at home in a night game, and then you travel to Rutgers. Now, I think Greg Schiano's got that thing a little bit fine-tuned than what it had been over the last few years. But I believe that this Spartan team should be able to beat Rutgers. Then you go to IU. You got to take on the Hoosiers. And, you know, again, I think they should have won their game today too. Like, their first real test, and depending on how you view Michigan, could be Michigan day before Halloween. So, again, this team is better than a 6-6 football team. Gets a little heavy towards the end of the year. Michigan, Purdue, Maryland, OSU, and Penn State. Gets a little heavier there towards the end, but this is constructed for them to really fine-tune their program in East Lansing. So I think when you look at Kenny Walker, you look at Peyton Thorne, and then certainly, Jaden Reed, Jalen Naylor. Those are the guys. You protect them at all costs. And look, I don't think Jaden Reed had a spectacular day today. 3 catches for just over 30 yards. Jalen Naylor had a better day, 4 catches for 82, had a couple of scores as well. I think if you're a Spartan, you should be incredibly excited. I think if you're a member of the green and white faithful, you should be very excited. Because whether or not the lofty expectations are there for this season is one thing. But at the least, I believe that Mel Tucker has demonstrated after, again, kind of a strange hire, wasn't their first choice after Mark D'Antonio quit late in the game. But he ended up coming late. And then he had to deal with a kind of a strange shortened COVID year. So to have him overhaul this roster the way he has, via the transfer portal, and then brought these guys in and then and set this foundation the way he has, I would be very excited if I were a Spartan. Be very excited. Because this is, you got the makings here for something cool. So, buckle up. Gonna be a fun season. And enjoy the ride. Because I think you could be in for something fun here. Michigan State wins today 38-17 over Miami in a heat wave down in Miami. Interesting in the postgame, if you heard it, Mel Tucker was talking about in preparation for this game, in preparing to go on down to Miami, they were cranking up the heat in their practice facility as high as it could go because they knew that this was going to be just a dogfight. And really it was until the last, whatever it was, 8 or so minutes, 10 minutes. So yeah, look, if you're a member of the green and white faithful, be very excited. I think you should be. A little bit of a different game in Ann Arbor today. So coming up next, I want to talk about Michigan because it was an absolute rout today at the Big House. 63-10 over the Huskies of Northern Illinois. Rocky Lombardi makes his triumphant return to the big house. So we'll talk about that. And there's a lot of action on that Michigan team today. So we'll talk about that coming up next. Chris Renwick here on Sports Wrap this Saturday, right here on WJR. Don't go anywhere. Come back with us.
Don't miss the Trading Group Show Saturdays at 4 p.m. on WJR. Learn how you can earn a full-time income working from home as a trader. That's the Trading Group Show, Saturdays at 4 p.m. The question line is 888-646.
All right, so I'll give you guys on here a little bit of a preview, all right? So this Nebraska-Oklahoma game, the Sooners beat the Cornhuskers 23-16. Really a competitive game throughout, and Nebraska gave them everything they had. Here's one of the things that we're going to talk about coming up in a little bit. Lincoln Riley, the head coach of Oklahoma, said that there was a moment in this game, just over 8 minutes to go, where he would have done something that I'm pretty confident in this. I haven't done a whole lot of research, but that there aren't many college football coaches or coaches in general that have done something like this. He legitimately considered challenging an interception that one of his guys made. And it was a highlight reel pick. One-handed interception, 4th down at his own 3-yard line. DJ Graham was the corner who made the play. The ball, though, however, was at the Oklahoma 24. So, be it 4th down, Riley seriously thought, well, look, if there was some question and the referees had to go back and look, why wouldn't I challenge this? He legitimately thought about challenging a spectacular interception just to give himself some field position. I mean, it's a crazy story. So we'll talk about that coming up. Don't go with it.
Debt never been higher. Right now, dollars losing value. And let's not forget about inflation, the highest since 2008. Remember what happened in 2008. So how do you protect your money, your retirement, your savings? Well, many people, just like you, are turning to Old Faithful to protect themselves during these difficult times. And Old Faithful is real gold and silver from the Oxford Gold Group, the kind you can actually hold in your hands and have in your IRA. No better time than the present to protect your future and the future of your family. Call the Oxford Gold Group right now, 833-928-GOLD. They will send you their free guide on investing in gold and silver and answer all of your questions. Protect your money before things get even worse out there. Call the Oxford Gold Group today at 833-928-GOLD. Oxford is here to help you protect your savings and retirement. That's 833-928-GOLD.
Now back to more Sports Wrap. Presented by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sports app today. FanDuel, more ways to win. Here's Chris Renwick.
So meanwhile, down at the big house, Michigan got a big 63-10 win today. And I mean, look, when things get away from, a team like this, generally, in this case, Michigan took advantage and got a lot of guys in the game. So J.J. McCarthy got some run after Cade McNamara, who went 8 for 11 for 191 to score. He threw for one, also ran for one early in the game for Michigan's first score. J.J. McCarthy came in 4 for 6, 42 yards. Blake Corum continues to impress. 13 carries, 125 yards, 3 scores. Hassan Haskins, 9 carries for over 50 yards and 2 scores. And then Donovan Edwards got some run today. The West Bloomfield product, the true freshman, 8 carries, 86 yards, 2 scores. I mean, look, that's 8 rushing touchdowns for Michigan on the day. Not a lot of passing. I mean, you're talking about between Cade and McCarthy, 130 yards or so. So, or excuse me, 230 yards through the air. I mean, look, again, Michigan is doing something that is kind of reminiscent of Jim Harbaugh at Stanford. Really strong ground game. And that's not something really they've had since he's been here. I mean, in terms of a combination of competent backs and then a cohesive kind of road grading, dominant offensive line. He hasn't had both of those things together. So I think he's kind of enjoying this toy. I think he's kind of enjoying this. And again, when you're running the ball as effectively as Michigan is, there isn't really much of a need to throw the ball a whole lot, right? I mean, wacky things can happen when you throw the ball. So I think from Harbaugh's perspective, he's just going, look, if we can run the football, we're going to run the football. Less of an opportunity, to make mistakes in terms of loosey-goosey with the football. It's a much more conservative style of play, but the way that they're incorporating sweeps, the way that they're incorporating some of their speed on the outside, a la AJ Henning, certainly that's something that they're getting into the mix here. Blake Corum's got speed too. So, again, and one of the questions that we had kind of haven't really been able to answer for you has been, who's going to take over for Ronnie Bell? Who's going to be that guy that steps up to the plate and at least from a production perspective, who's going to pick up some of those yards? Well, today it was Cornelius Johnson. 3 catches, 117 in a score. In fact, I think he was the only receiver to score today. He was. So, I mean, look, I think I think at some point Michigan's got to figure out, they got to mix in some of the pass. But today was not the day. I mean, there was just no need. The ground game was dominant force, and away they went. So 8 rushing touchdowns leads Michigan to the blowout win over Northern Illinois at the Big House. And now let's play the schedule game for Michigan, because now they're going to get into Big Ten play here. And I think when you start looking at how this stacks up for Michigan, I think it stacks up pretty well. You got Rutgers at home next weekend with a 3:30 kick. Then you go to Madison to take on the Badgers. Then you go to Nebraska to take on the Huskers. I think you beat Rutgers. Nebraska, or Wisconsin can be a little iffy. It's a tough place to play in Madison. But I think that they very well could win that game. And then you got Nebraska and Northwestern. So, I mean, realistically, they could be 7-0 heading into Michigan State. Really. I mean, you could be talking about a couple of high-ranked top 50. You could have a top 15 matchup at Spartan Stadium day before Halloween. How's that sound? Yeah, I'm on board with that. I mean, again, I think there are a lot of questions on this Wolverines team still. Feel a lot differently about this Michigan team than I do say about Michigan State.
Now, Chris, let me ask you this.
All right. Yep.
Once the schedule tightens up with the competition.
Yep.
Do you see, I mean, the running game isn't obviously going to be as good as it's been the last couple of weeks, but do you see the running game being able to lead this team going forward with some of these matchups? Do you think it'll still be effective at Wisconsin, Nebraska, at home, Northwestern?
Yeah, I think when you look at the Rutgers and Nebraska game, yes, I think it can be effective. Not like this. These are gaudy numbers. I don't think it can be this effective. In Wisconsin, you're going to have to be a little more balanced. I mean, look, again, I think you look at what Michigan did against Washington last week. Washington is no national championship contender. Had a couple of injuries on the offensive side of the ball, but defensively, they're a pretty good defensive team, especially in that secondary. They got more questions up front in that front seven, but they're a solid group. I mean, they're a top 3 Pac-12 team, probably top 4, top 5 at the worst. And so what I think you do in this case is I think you're fine-tuning. I think you're fine-tuning with games against Northern Illinois, and you'll fine-tune against Rutgers. I think you'll fine-tune against somebody like Nebraska. So that when you get into the stretch of Michigan State, Indiana, Penn State, Maryland, and Ohio State, you hope that you've got it, firing on all cylinders. But certainly, they're going to have to throw the ball. I mean, even next week at Rutgers, they're going to have to throw the ball. I mean, they're not. They will not be able. They will not be able to run. At this clip, at least I don't think. I mean, 373 yards on the ground is pretty incredible. So I think that's a valid question, Jason. But I think the thought here is you're fine tuning. You're trying to find your footing. And with all that being said, I think it's a fair question for Michigan fans to ask: is Cade? Is he really the guy? I mean, is he really the guy throwing the football? Right? Can he make these kind of plays? Because right now he's kind of like a game manager, right? Like you're just kind of calling out the mic, you're calling out the will, you're trying to find out if pressure's coming from one of the cornerbacks, and to adjust where the run's coming. You know what I mean? Like you're just kind of facilitating the game as you go along. Can he be a guy that can take over a game throwing the football? That's really something that we haven't seen yet. And I think that's a fair question for Michigan fans to ask. Is he capable of throwing the ball? Absolutely. I mean, you saw it today, had a couple of really long, nice throws. One was that 87-yarder to Cornelius Johnson for the touchdown. But he's got a little zip on the ball. And he's got a little bit of touch. He's got to refine his his downfield passing. But he's okay. Like, I think he's all right. But when you're getting into a clutch situation, can you throw the ball? And they just, quite frankly, they just haven't faced that yet. And they may not face that till Wisconsin. So it's a fair question. I think that's a fair question to ask is, I mean, once you get into the teeth of your Big Ten slate, can Michigan run the football like this? I think the answer is no. No. I mean, you're going to have to balance this thing out dramatically. So I think next week you start to see that. I think next week, you can run on 60% of your offensive plays, but you got to pass the ball. You got to throw the football around the yard a little bit. And so I think that's what they'll do. But for Michigan defensively, again, not a whole lot of a challenge today. But I think I still have questions about their corners. I have questions about Jamon Green, who had a pick today. I had questions about Vincent Gray. I thought he played a little bit better last week, Vincent Gray. I don't have many questions about Dax Hill. But I think there are still some questions in that secondary that need to be answered. And I don't know you see that until October 2nd at Wisconsin. So it's interesting. Coming up next, I want to talk about this Oklahoma game. We'll get you updated on a couple of scores going on, some of the finals that have been in the books. I'll tell you this. Florida's giving it to Alabama. I mean, they're giving them everything they've got. Florida down by 5 into the fourth quarter. I mean, my goodness. The swamp is rocking. I want to talk about this Oklahoma game, though, coming up. Lincoln Riley he almost did something that I don't know if any coach has ever done. We'll talk about that coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Sir Mix and Match a Lot coming to you live from Hungry Howie's, where I'm talking famous flavor and mixing and matching any 2 items on the Hungry Howie's Mix and Match menu for $5.99 each. I'm talking a medium 1-topping pizza, Howie bread, a Pepsi 4-pack, a regular oven baked sub, a regular salad, a Howie cookie, and wings. Any 2 for $5.99 each.
Okay, can I just order my food, please?
Oh,
Sure.
Great. I'll have.
Sorry. Hungry?
Howie's.
The NFL's back, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every single play, and they're doing it by giving everybody a $10 risk-free bet every week. All you got to do is bet a same-game parlay with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. Like, here's the parlay I'm working on for Monday Night Football Lions-Packers. I'm going to go over Aaron Rodgers' passing yards, over the point total, and under on Jared Goff touchdowns. Look, and this is why I bet on FanDuel Sportsbook, because I can put a parlay bet together like that. It's super simple. It's super easy. Everything is safe and secure. And when I win a little cash, I get it in less than 24 hours. And believe me, there is no better feeling than nailing the same game parlay bet. Believe me. So lock in your bet today on FanDuel Sportsbook and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. Now, if you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, you can also claim your 30-1 odds on either team to win that Chiefs-Ravens game. All you got to do, sign up using promo code Renwick. That's RENWICK. Again, that's promo code Renwick.
21 and older and present in Michigan. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Maximum refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same-game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on mobile web. Gambling problems? Call 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help.
The pandemic's reminded us we live in a sea of airborne germs that can assault us with every breath. Your nose is the body's first line of defense by helping filter out allergens, bacteria, and viruses before they reach your lungs. But like any air filter, the more clogged up it gets, the less it works. So how do you clean your nose? I'm Martin Hoke, and I didn't invent nasal irrigation. The neti pot's been around thousands of years. But I did invent Navage to make cleaning your nose easy. Navage uses powered suction to flush out mucus and germs that cause congestion, or worse, can make you sick. Over 2 million people use Navage to breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier without drugs. Navage has over 70,000 online reviews averaging 4.7 stars because it works and it's easy to use. Go to Navage.com or find Navage at Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Now available with eucalyptus for a spa-like experience. Navage, Navage, clean nose, healthy life.
If you're in the market for any type of new or used vehicle, please think of us. Hi friends, Bill Golling here from the Golling Automotive Group. And this month we have some great values and incentives going on at all of our stores. We have Golling Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Bloomfield Hills, Chelsea, and Roseville. Golling Alfa Romeo Fiat in Birmingham. Golling Buick GMC in Lake Orion. Golling Toyota in Warren, and our new Golling Kia store in Madison Heights. Plus, we'll always be here to service you and your vehicle. So buy local and support the hardworking people that work here. Learn more at Golling.com.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. Whether you want to learn Spanish for future travel plans, French to connect with extended family, or maybe German to land a new job, Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you'll actually use. All you need is 15 minutes a day, and you'll be on your way to confidently speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel is designed by real language experts using a modern, conversation-based technique that makes learning fun, engaging, and best of all, memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then sentences gradually get more complex. Soon you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. And with 14 languages to choose from and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll be sure to learn what matters most to you. Babbel, language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Now back to more Sports Wrap. Presented by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sports app today. FanDuel, more ways to win. Here's Chris Renwick.
So, there are just some plays that it's just jaw-dropping, right? Like, you just see some of these plays and you're like, how on earth did he just do that? Well, there was one of those plays today in the Nebraska-Oklahoma game. DJ Graham, one of the corners on Oklahoma, made a spectacular one-handed. I mean, I don't know that I've ever seen another interception like this. I mean, it was a full extension, one-handed pick. And if you haven't seen it, just type in DJ Graham in Twitter. It'll pop up. I mean, he was covering a guy streaking towards the end zone, reached up, laid out, pulled it in. It was jaw-dropping. It was stunning. So Oklahoma goes on to beat Nebraska 23-16 in a game that, again, Scott Frost at his alma mater is coaching for his life. Coaching for his life. And so it was a pretty good outing by Nebraska. So this interception happens with like 8 minutes to play. And what was it? 8:16 remaining in the game. DJ Graham goes up, makes the catch. After the game, Lincoln Riley, head coach at Oklahoma, had this to say: I might have been the first coach in history to challenge a play where we got an interception on. So here's the chain of events. Riley was asking the officiating crew if they had confirmed that it was an interception. They said they had. He said, I thought it juggled around a bit, asking the officials if they did confirm it. They said they had, and he said, I might have challenged it had they not confirmed it. Because then here was and again, going on this thought process, it makes a lot of sense. So it was 4th down. Nebraska throws the interception. Adrian Martinez throws the pick. After it, because they're at their own 3-yard line, trying to protect the lead, they go and they run at the 3-yard line, relatively conservative plays. Run it on 1st and 2nd down. They get back to the line of scrimmage on both plays. 3rd and 10, incomplete pass. So they got to boot it away. They punt it. After a 10-yard return, Nebraska gets the ball on the OU 38. 3 plays later, Adrian Martinez, touchdown pass, 21 yards out, cuts Oklahoma's lead to 23-16 with just under 6 to play. So again, in Riley's rationale, if that really was an interception, if he challenges it, they get the ball at their own 24-yard line instead of their 3. It's a genius thought. But it would have been, Jason, have you seen this play yet? Have you seen the pick?
I just watched it actually,
Okay,
and I got Blake in here. I said, "Wow, oh my god!"
Have you ever seen an interception like that? I've never seen it. No.
And the impressive thing was, in midair, he grabbed it with one hand and then he tucked it in while he was still in midair.
Really really an incredible play.
Yeah.
And so, but again, from Lincoln Riley's perspective, I get it, right? Like, instead of being, because it was 4th down. So if the ball goes incomplete, they get the ball at their own 24.
Yeah. He's just showing off, you know.
Right. and then you want to be the guy to take that away from the kid? Are you kidding me?
Right. Yeah.
So that never happened? Oh, I don't know about that. I don't know. But again, this is like new age college football, right? Like, this is really kind of advanced. Like, it's a different thought process. Like, Bo would have never done that. Bo would have never done that. He would have never even contemplated challenge. Well, I'm challenging it, but you know what I'm saying? Like, even Urban Meyer a decade ago, Florida Urban Meyer wasn't going to make that play. He wasn't going to challenge that play. You know what I mean? Like, it's a whole new way of thinking. It's a whole new way of navigating a game. And it's, again, I think it's a very analytical approach to football. Like, again, it's an odds thing, right? I got to, and you know what? Maybe I'll do this during the break. I'll find that guy. We had talked about him a little bit. He was a high school coach, got a job at a D3 school, and his calling card is he just never punts. Never punt. Unless they're inside their 5, maybe, but he just won't punt because he looks at it as, why would I give myself 3 opportunities to get a first down if I could give myself 4 opportunities to get a first down, and then you curtail your play calling around having the ability to have 4 plays to get a first down.
Now, what was that coach's career record?
Really good.
Was it really good? Okay.
Really good. And as a matter of fact, the kid, his starting quarterback on his team, was a former Michigan walk-on, and then I think he threw for like 900 yards in the first week. I mean, I got to look this up because now it's a little hazy, but I'll look it up during the break. So again, this is just kind of new age college football, and you get a lot more of these maverick types, right, in college. Like you don't get this as much in the NFL. Like Dan Campbell, I'm pretty sure won't challenge an interception that his team makes if it was fourth down from their own 25-yard line and they make a pick. You know what I mean? Like I don't think that's going to happen. So you get a little bit more of this wild, wild west thinking and coaching and analytical approach in college. But it was just funny to read this. And you know, Lincoln Riley's like, yeah, I would have challenged it. Really would have. I want to get you caught up on a couple of scores here. Purdue actually, that was a tight game all the way until the fourth quarter. I want to see here. What was it? It was 17-13 going into the fourth. Number 12, Notre Dame hosting Purdue. Notre Dame escapes with the dub there. They win at 27-13. Alabama scores just a couple of moments ago.
Florida's marching it down, too.
An 8-point lead. And yes, Florida is marching it down. They are on the Alabama 48 right now. And they've got a first down there. Iowa over Kent State 30-7. They got a $1:33 left in that one. Tulsa, look, here's the thing about Tulsa. Everything going on in New Orleans is just a mess right now, right? Like we've seen the Saints have been displaced. Tulsa has been displaced. They were supposed to host Oklahoma in week 1, but they got it moved to Norman because they can't play there. If they don't have electricity, the facilities are a mess. It's a whole, because of Ida. That game is in the fourth. It's Ohio State 27, Tulsa 13. Oh, I'm sorry. I am thinking too. You know what? I always do this. I always get Tulsa and Tulane mixed up. Always. It's like clockwork. But yes, you're right. Tulane was the school I was thinking of. But yeah, so Tulsa is at Ohio State. They're down by 14 right now. Let's try to get you a couple other scores. Oklahoma beats Nebraska. Told you that. How about that game in Indiana? Did you see any of that, Jason? Michael Penix Jr. throws that pick late, and it just blew up everything for Indiana. So Cincinnati walks out of Hoosierville with a 38-24 win.
Yeah, it was 30-24 at that point, and then Cincinnati sealed it after that. Yeah, that was a good game until the end. Mm-hmm.
And then West Virginia at home knocks off number 15 Virginia Tech 27-21. That was a good game too.
Yeah, that was a good game. I did not see any of it, but it does look like it was a good game. I was following it throughout the day. It was very close. Big win for West Virginia.
No doubt. You got another top 25 matchup today. Number 22, Auburn travels to Happy Valley to take on number 10, Penn State. That kicks at 7:30 tonight. And then we got a couple other games too. But anyway.
And South Carolina at Georgia right here on WJR following this program.
Very good. That kicks off. What do we got? That starts at 7:00.
Yeah. Yep.
Very good. Yeah. It looks like kicks at 7:10. So that makes sense. All right. I got to take a break. Jason's going to yell at me. I don't want him to yell at me.
Never.
We'll take a break, come back and get you in the mix if you'd like. 800-859-0957. 800-859-0WJR. That's the number for you to call or text. Chris Renwick here with you this Saturday evening, Football Saturday, right here on WJR. Don't go anywhere.
Jerry Norcia, President and CEO of DTE Energy, has an important message for you.
This summer, we experienced severe storms like never before, causing too many outages for too many customers. At DTE, we know we have work to do, preparing for more extreme weather. You may not know this, but trees are responsible for almost all power interruptions during high wind events. So we're further accelerating tree trimming in areas with recurring outages. We're investing an additional $70 million, putting 30% more workers on the job, and doing it without an impact on customer bills. Where tree trimming is complete, reliability has improved an average of 60%, and we're committing more than $1 billion a year in infrastructure upgrades including smart technology for a stronger grid. We're going to do whatever it takes to provide you with more reliable energy.
DTE.
A message brought to you by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services. Protect yourself from the COVID variants by getting fully vaccinated. Discover the facts at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine. Introducing thegreatvoice.com, a new podcast website from News Talk 760 WJR, with all your favorite WJR content delivered directly to your desktop or mobile device, plus podcasts you can only find on thegreatvoice.com.
This is Jeff Morton, Center Director for Pain-Free Life Centers in Troy. It's finally here, summertime. After last summer spent locked down with all the festivals, concerts, fairs, and fun events canceled, I think we're all ready for some outdoor excitement. But how can you get into action when you're still suffering with your chronic pain? The answer? Pain-Free Life Centers. Our high-intensity, high-dose laser therapy has been changing lives throughout Metro Detroit for over a decade now. There are no injections, no surgery, no addictive medications, absolutely zero side effects. We are so confident in what we do, your consultation and first treatment are free. You have nothing to lose but your pain. Summer is short. Stop wasting any more of your time. Stop being a prisoner of your own pain. The time to get your freedom back is right now. Pick up the phone and call us at 248-879-1100 or visit painfreelifecenters.com. It's time for the best summer yet.
Celebrate America's passion for the automobile at the 5th Annual AAA Auto Expo. Saturday, September 25th from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. Join them for a morning of fun and friendship and share your love of cars with others. It's free admission and you can display your classic car, sporty sedan, or work in progress. Saturday, September 25th from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at AAA in Dearborn. Check out facebook.com/AAA Michigan and click on events for more information. Sponsored by AAA Auto Club Group.
Nielsen says more than 30 million Americans watch Newsmax. It's the 4th highest rated cable news channel, and it's available on all major cable systems, or find it on smart TVs like Samsung, LG, and more. And it's free on Roku, Xumo, Pluto, Amazon Fire, and TiVo. Or download the Newsmax app on your smartphone. Watch it anytime, anywhere. Forbes described Newsmax as a news powerhouse. Millions of Americans are watching Newsmax. You should too. Tune in today.
You have helped build MyPillow into the incredible company it is today. They're giving back by sharing great discounts on MyPillow products by going to MyPillow.com right now and clicking on the radio listener special square. Save up to 66% off on products like their pillows and Giza sheets, but also new products like their slippers, weighted blankets, and waffle blankets. All of MyPillow products come with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Enter promo code ICON.
I'm Danny Schaefer, lifestyle content creator. My little brother had these piercing blue eyes, like the ocean. He was just 33 when we lost him to an accidental opioid overdose.
My name is Darren Waller. I had it made, living my dream playing professional football. Then my life hit rock bottom. I had an accidental opioid overdose.
I felt this shame, this stigma. Everyone knew, but no one talked about it.
I felt completely isolated. My family didn't even know. I refused to stand by and watch without doing everything I can to change the stigma.
If you know someone taking opioids, have a safety plan and talk about it.
It can happen to anyone you know or love. It happened to me.
I'm sharing Scott's story because reversing the silence can help save lives.
Let's help put a stop to opioid overdoses being a leading cause of accidental death in America.
Be prepared. Learn how at reversedsilence.org.
Now back to more Sports Wrap. Presented by FanDuel. Download the FanDuel Sports app today. FanDuel, more ways to win. Here's Chris Renwick.
All right, welcome back. 800-859-0957, 800-859-0WJR. That's the number for you to call or text if you want to weigh in on Michigan State. Obviously, you've got the opportunity. I think that both of these teams are on a good trajectory here, and it's very possible that these two teams could be undefeated when they play each other day before Halloween in East Lansing. It would be incredible. We got Jason and Blake back in the studio. Blake, I know you've got a question about Oklahoma. What do you got?
I was going to ask you. I think.
Oh, I don't know. I can't really hear Blake. I don't know if that's on my end or your end. That's all right. Hop on over to Jason's mic. We'll get this thing done. I did want to update you on this. I told you about this coach. His name's Kevin Kelly. And he won 9 state championships in 18 years coaching high school football in Arkansas. And everything, his whole thought process is he doesn't punt. I mean, there are very few scenarios in which he punts. So he is now the head coach at Presbyterian in South Carolina, which is a D3 school. Their first game against the Knights of St. Andrews, and I don't know where St. Andrews is from. They beat them 84-43. And then on September 11th, last weekend, they played Fort Lauderdale and beat Fort Lauderdale 68-3. And then they've got a game tonight. Well, it should be underway. They, for some reason, don't have any live stats right now on their website. But they're playing Campbell. Again, I don't know where a lot of these places are from. Looks like this one's in North Carolina. So Campbell must be in North Carolina. So they should be underway from Bowie's Creek in North Carolina. But again, you're looking at a coach who just never punts, takes the analytical approach, and just the scores are just wild. All right, Blake, what do you got?
Yeah, so sorry about the mic issues there.
Right.
So with Oklahoma, their starting quarterback, obviously Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
I've always thought that he's a little bit overrated. And his game today showed it. He didn't play all that well. He didn't play horrible, don't get me wrong. But they have another 5-star behind him, Caleb Williams. Do you think by the end of the season we could see a change? I mean, I know Rattler came in with all the hype, but what do you think?
No, I don't. I mean, Spencer Rattler's the guy. It's kind of the same deal at Michigan, right? And I'm not comparing McNamara to Spencer Rattler, but when you've got a 5-star sitting there, I think everybody wants that. It's like you want to see what you don't know, right? Like the appeal is there. No, but I think Spencer Rattler's the guy. I mean, I think that, again, you start looking at, some of the top quarterbacks that are going to be, making their way to the NFL this year. Spencer Rattler's, one of the top 3 quarterbacks that are going to be in the mix. So, no, barring injury, no, Spencer Rattler's the guy. And again, I mean, today on the stat sheet, he played okay with 24 for 34 for 214 yards and a touchdown. It's not earth-shattering, but it's like a decent day against a team where, Nebraska came in kind of with nothing to lose. It's like, like I said, Scott Frost is coaching for his life. So they're going in and trying to knock off a top team. So they gave them everything they had. It was close. It really was a close game. But if you're, I mean, I don't know if Spencer Rattler's on your team, you're going to start Spencer Rattler. I mean, so no, I don't see them making a change barring an injury. But 24 for 34, for 214 yards, again, when you see 24 for 34, if I didn't tell you how many yards he had through the air, you may think he had a lot more, right? That's a pretty efficient day. So no, he didn't have a tremendous day, but no, Spencer Rattler's the guy. Now, here's my question to you guys, if you want to weigh in on this. Kevin Kelly, this analytical coach now at D3 Presbyterian, who doesn't punt. 2-0 on the season this year. It's his first college football season. Running up scores like 84-43, 68-3. So my question is, with whatever programs that you both subscribe to, I don't even know, Jason, what your college football team you're a guy.
I'm a Michigan guy.
All right. So if Harbaugh stinks it up and they can him, would you hire Kevin Kelly? Would you hire a guy who doesn't punt the football? Would you hire a guy who takes such a mathematical, analytical approach to the game of football and hire him at Michigan?
He's obviously successful, but I don't think I could, because I just don't think. Well, what college is he at right now? You said
he's at Presbyterian, which is a D3 school in South Carolina.
See, it just doesn't. It would never work in the Big Ten or any of the other big conferences. I don't think. Would it draw a lot of attention? Sure, but not always the right attention. I don't think.
So here's the and again, and I agree. I wouldn't hire him right now either. But I do think that it took one school to go, wait a second here. This guy obviously is a smart guy. And actually, I kind of became hip to Kevin Kelly back in mid-May. Sports Illustrated put out this huge piece on him and talked about how, at high school level, right? If you watch high school football, some of these high school football programs still run like the wishbone. You know what I mean? Like that's even a wackier style of football in a lot of cases. But he had won 9 state championships in 18 years in Arkansas. And so it took one college to go, we got to give this guy a shot. We got to, even if it's a gimmick. We're a D3 school. We don't really have much to lose. This guy, I'll tell you what, I could very easily. How about a school like Tulane? How about a school like UCF? I'm just saying, maybe not in Michigan, maybe not at an Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, USC. I would bet that this guy will be at a D1 FBS program in the next 2 years, especially if at least now at some college level, they're getting some sort of sample size that this guy is on to something. So there's my prognostication. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 6:00.
The great outdoors. Get back to a place where nature lives up to its name.
All right, that's going to do it for us today, guys. Thank you. We will catch you tomorrow here, 6:00, right here on WJR. Thanks again. Have a